If you're new to management or leadership, you're in a new role, maybe even in a position of management for the first time, that is a hard place to be. We've all been there, but I'm so glad you're here because today we're going to discuss the 4 questions you must ask as a new manager and the ones you should definitely avoid. So let's get into it. Hey there, welcome to the Culture Keepers podcast. My name is Kara List. I'm your leadership coach. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. We're here to discuss topics that empower you as a leader to confidently lead happy and high-performing teams, and to do that by cultivating a thriving workplace culture. We're here today to discuss even more, especially if you are a new manager, someone new in a leadership role. And if that's you, then I have a gift for you. This is a list, an ultimate resource list of my favorite leadership podcast episodes, books, articles, things that have been produced by just some of the best thought leaders on leadership. And I wish I had had these from the start. So do not miss this list. There is so much noise out there when it comes to what to buy and what to listen to, and I have zeroed in on the best ones. So go ahead into the show notes and grab that link, or go to www.heykaralist.com/list. So new manager, new leader, the first thing that you should do in your role is to have individual one-on-one meetings with your team. Now, if you're leading a large team, like I'm talking 50, 100, 200 employees, obviously you're talking about the next tier of management, the people you directly supervise. For some of you who have a small team, maybe you're in a nonprofit, then that team might look like 5 to 10 people. So whoever it is you directly supervise, you want to have one-on-one meetings. And often we feel the pressure right away to do something, right? To make a change, to give some sort of vibe about how we will be as a leader and what our vision is and what we will do. But you just cannot do that without all the information. And to get that information, you have to hit the pause button. You have to be willing to just slow the train and trust that this is the best thing you can do for yourself and the best thing you can do for your team. No one is expecting you or really wants you to make a big splash when you come in. Really, if anything, they want to keep on doing what they do the way they know how to do it. And so your job at the beginning, and really for a while, is to learn, to humbly learn, and to really listen as you're learning with curiosity, to not only receive, but to ask more questions. The bank of information that you can gather, the larger that bank becomes, the more equipped you will be to make those vision statements, those changes, those decisions in a way that will make the greatest impact and the least ripple effect, which is what you want. So what are you going to do in those one-on-one meetings? Well, there are going to be 4 questions that you need to ask. And we're going to phrase them in a specific way. So with each question, I'm going to share, here's what you should ask instead of what you might be tempted to ask. So here we go. The first question you should ask is, what are the parts of your job that you love the most? Instead of asking, what do you do? You should have a printed job description where you could read what they do. You don't want to waste their time with them sitting and thinking, okay, well, if I were to write out my task list, which is maybe already written out, these are the things I would do. No, instead, you ask, what are the parts of your job that you love? And here's what it reveals. It reveals what they prioritize. And it also reveals what comes easiest. Often, what we love doing are the things that are naturally gifted in us, the things that we come to the table with. And so not only are you going to learn about how they contribute to the organization, but that question helps you learn about them as an individual, apart from their title, apart from their job role, apart from the outcome of their work. Who are they? What are their gifts? And what do they bring to the table most naturally? Those are the things that people are going to be most passionate to talk about. Also, probably the work they're most proud of. And then You can look at their job description, which hopefully exists, and you will be able to tell right from the start the things that they didn't say. And that's going to provide some insight too. Those might be the things that they don't love doing, that come a little more, that aren't as easy for them. Maybe some of their working frustrations, maybe some things they wish were delegated, maybe some things they haven't accomplished in weeks or months or years. And you're going to be able to see if what they said in their own words about their passion projects, about their gifts, and about the work that they're proud of aligns with the job role they actually have. The second question, love this one, are what are the qualities of some of the best leaders you've ever had? And you're asking that instead of, tell me about your former manager, or tell me about the relationship with your former manager. Instead, you have opened up the doors to really isolate what this person values, because that's what they're going to say. They're not going to rattle off a resume of their former favorite bosses. They're going to rattle off the qualities that they remember that stick out to them based on what they value. And that's why every single employee is probably going to say something different. You may have one team member that says, oh, I had a boss once and I valued how innovative they were. They were so innovative. And someone else might say they were so empathetic. And someone else might say they were so hardworking. Like whatever it is that they say is going to reveal what they value. And that is helpful because what we value is what motivates our work too. When we think about the leaders we want to be, it often is the same answer. I remember that this leader was awesome because they had so much compassion, because they listened with curiosity. And so in turn, someday I hope that someone will look back at me and say, man, Kara was a great leader because she was always curious. She asked great questions. Those things that we acknowledge in other leaders express our values, and our values is what drives us in our work. So you just can learn so much about a person by asking that question. It also reveals their needs, because some people might need a leader to be a little more curious or a little more patient or a little more innovative based on how they operate. So it helps you to kind of see, oh, this is what this person needs in a leader. Not that you need to be all things to all people. It's just insight. It's tools in your toolbox as you serve the people you've been put in charge of. The third question is, what do you perceive as being our team's greatest opportunities for growth? And you're asking it that way instead of saying, what are the team's weaknesses? Or what are the hurdles that the team is coming up against? And why that phrasing of the question is so great is because it allows the space and the freedom for that person to talk about potential success instead of past failure, which can often feel like pointing fingers or shifting blame. And no one wants to be the person with a new manager who's talking about their colleagues negatively, even if that is their opinion. It's easier to point out our opportunities for growth in the future, because that's something we can collectively do instead of pointing back to our weaknesses or our failures, which are often in our minds attributed to certain individuals. The fourth is really important. It's, do you have any concerns or worries about the change in management? And you're asking that question instead of, what do you need from me? And this wording of the question completely shifts it from it being about you as the leader to being about them as an individual who might have worries and concerns. So new managers are often quick to take things personally because they're not the last guy or the guy before that, or even worse, they feel the pressure because former managers weren't awesome, so they feel this need to be a better manager. All of those vantage points are about us, instead of this person is worried or concerned about change in management because change is hard. They might be concerned about the consistency of communication. And this also gives them an opportunity to teach you things that are important to them and important to the team, things that might be able to provide that through line of consistency that otherwise you would have no way of knowing or understanding. So by asking it this way, it takes all the individuals, past managers, current managers, you, out of the picture and allows them to freely discuss their concerns. Their concerns that really don't have anything to do with you yet because you're new. You haven't done anything yet. So you can hear those concerns free of pressure and just know that that's what they are. And you can keep those in mind as you move forward. Or you could use those as a starting point, as a jumping off point in your next meeting. So I know in our first one-on-one, you discuss these concerns. Do you still feel that way? How can we work through this? It's just however you decide to move forward with it, it's information that you now have. So those are the 4 questions. Let's review them real quick. 1, what parts of your job do you love the most? 2, what are qualities of some of the best leaders you've ever had? 3, what do you see are your team's opportunities for growth? And 4, do you have any worries or concerns about the change in management? And I don't think I need to say this, but I'm going to say it just in case. Your goal is to write this stuff down. Have you ever been in a restaurant and you give your order with all the details and how you want the meat cooked and your allergies or whatever the long list of things are, and they don't write it down? You're not impressed. You're worried. You're worried that you're not going to get what you ordered because they're human and people forget and make mistakes and are thinking all the things at once. And whether they think it's impressive or not, I'm just like, can you just write it down? Like, I'd love it if you got my order right. So write it down. Whatever you need to do to not only make sure you actually remember, but so that they can see visibly that you care to remember, that it's not in one ear and out the other. It's not just for appearances, that you actually care about their answers. It is really important that you write it down. And again, I don't think I need to say that, but I'm just going to put it out there anyway. So in the hustle and bustle of being new to a leadership role, slow it down. There is nothing that needs to happen quickly. It might feel that way. You might feel pressure to do that, but your primary objective is to know your people and for them to know that you care to know them, that is who you are. And that's going to speak a lot about who you are as a leader, your values, your character, and that's going to go a long way when you actually have that trust equity to make changes and important decisions. You're going to have a team that's with you and a team that's for you. Okay, friend, this was fun. This is a quick and easy, practical way. Those 4 must-ask questions in those one-on-ones, which should be your first priority in your new role. Okay, I'm excited to see you next week or to talk to you next week. Come join me, and I can't wait to discuss more topics and hopefully empower you in your leadership. Okay, friends, have a good one.